Hello everybody, Unholy Vision here from Venomous Pictures, and today I bring you a video on how to install Arch Linux. The first option is actually what we'd be selecting, but if you have some kind of problem where it's not displaying afterwards, you might want to press the arrow keys or whatever and get it to get stuck on the screen. Highlight the first actual selection, press the E key, and try something like no mode set. So you scroll all the way over here and then no mode set. I'm not going to be using that, but that's just what you would do if for some reason it's not displaying. Alright, so once we get to this screen, we want to actually see if we're connected to the internet. So ping -c 3 archlinux.org, and it should be receiving and transmitting packages without any problems. If for some reason it doesn't work, you'll want to actually systemctl start dhcp-cd. Alright, so now we need to see what drives we're working with. So lsblk, and this will give us a list of drives. When you're looking at this, make sure you know which one is what, because when we go to partition over these drives, you do not want to erase anything that you don't want to erase. For me, the SDB is going to be my main like root partition and boot and all that stuff, and then SDA will be my home folder. You can set it up with your home folder however you wish, but that's what I'm doing on a different drive. So now we need to partition our disk. So cf disk /dev /sdb, and then we use gpt. Alright, so now we need to create a boot partition. So they usually say about 500 megs, but I do 800 just in case if I wanted to do a little extra kernel work and whatnot. And then you would set the flag on that to EFI. And now this is the point where you'd create a swap if you need one. So I'm not going to do the swap personally, but I'll just show it real quick. You do something like, say, 4 gigs. This is supposed to be based on your RAM, and you double it. But I have 64 gigs. I'm not going to be using that. But like I'm saying, right here you'd have 4 gigs, and then you hit the type, and you would change it to Linux swap, and it would look like that right there. I'm going to delete that myself. Now you'll want to set up a root partition. Depending on how much space you have left from if you're using a swap or anything else, you'll need to decide on the actual size here. You might want to go with something like 10 gigs. It really depends on your drive, so, make out whatever you need with that, and then allocate the rest of the space as another drive that remains for your home folder. I'm just going to go ahead and do this, and if you need this to be your home folder as well, don't press the right and the quit button that I'm about to do here. I'm going to be, as I was saying, using the secondary one, SDA right there, as my home. So cf disk /dev /sd now gp, and then this is where you'll follow along if you need this on your other, well, your one drive there and you don't have to. So at this point we would just create that, fill that in, and then yes, Alright, so now that we have the partition table set up, we need to actually make fs.ext4 /dev / whatever the drive is. So SDB, and we made our SDB2 our root partition. So do that, press yes key, let it do its thing. And since we have a different drive letter for the home folder, make fs.ext4 /dev /sda1. If you're using the same drive as mentioned, use the correct drive letter and number for that, and just do the same thing. Let it do its thing after you entered. Alright, so now we need to make fs.defat -f32 /dev /sdb1, and that'll set the boot partition up as a fat partition, and the mkfs.ext4 set the other partitions up as actual ext4 file system types. And then you need to actually set up a swap partition if you have one. So make swap /dev /sda sd, whatever you have that drive that you set your swap on, point it at that, put it in, and then let it do its thing. Now we need to start mounting our partitions. So mount /dev /sd, whatever your drive is at this point that you set root up on. So SDB2 for me, and then /mnt. And then if you have swap on /dev /whatever you set the swap as. At this point, I like to just make the folders and actually get all that out of the way and just mount everything. Usually the system's pretty good at handling a lot of that, but when I go to generate a fstab, I like to have it all mounted and just be on the safe side. So mkdir /mnt /boot, then mkdir /mnt /home. We mount /dev, whatever your letter is for SD, SDA, SDB, whatever your letter is for the actual boot partition we made. The one I did was 800 megs, so it's SDB1, and then mnt /boot. And then at that point, I like to make dir /mnt /boot /UEFI. And then mount /dev /sda1, or in my case, whatever your home folder is, mnt /home. Now we need to actually install the system. So pacstrap /mnt, and then we need to install base devel, and if you have U code that you need, if you're using an Intel system, be Intel-U code. If it's AMD, it's AMD-U code. Let's create our fstab. So gen fstab /mnt, and then two of these like greater than symbols /mnt /etc/fstab. And now if everything went right, it should be able to cat /mnt/etc/fstab. And it should show you the contents of the file. If anything is incorrect in that file, nano/mnt/etc/fstab and edit the file accordingly to the drives that you set everything up on for those partitions. So if for some reason the home folder, you put it on a different drive, it's not showing that drive in there, then set /dev/sd whatever your partition is, and then /home /axt/ all the other stuff you see on the screen here basically. And if it's a SSD, you might want to change real time to no real time for like the home folder. But moving on, we need to actually chroot into MNT. So arch chroot /MNT. Now we need to actually look for our language. So nano/etc/locale.gen. Go through this list here and let's find our language. Once you've found the language you're going to be using, uncomment it by deleting the little hashtag or pound sign or whatever you want to call it. Then Control X and save the modification and write over that file. And then we need to locale-gen. And this may take a little while depending on how many you uncommented, but if you only did like 2, it should only take a second. Now let's set the language variable. So echo lang equals en underscore us dot utf-8, a little greater than again, and then /etc/locale.conf. Change language equals whatever to your specific one that you're using. Alright, so it's time to give your computer a name. This will show up on what your network shows the computer as. So echo, I'm going to put Magnetic as my host name. Change it to whatever you want. And then another one of those little greater than like signs /etc/host name. And then if everything right, and that's what the file should look like with cat if it went and created it. So now let's set up our time zone. If you don't know your time zone, you can actually look this info up by ls/user share user as USR, not the full thing, and then after /share zone info, you'll get a whole list of stuff here. Then if you want to go a little bit further than that, once you've found your zone, just ls/user, again, not the full thing, just USR, and share zone info, and then the zone you picked. So this will give us the exact zone information you need to set up your time. Alright, so now we need to set up the time zone. So ln space dash sf slash user as USR again, share slash zone info slash America for me, whatever your zone is, select that, and then whatever the sub zone is, and then space slash etc slash locale time. Just hit enter. Now HW clock dash dash this clock SS SYSTOHC. Hit enter on that, and your hardware clock and everything should be set up to this time zone. So now we need to set up our root password. So PASSWD. Type in your password. So now we want to actually add a user. So user add -mg users -G wheel storage power video audio optical, and then space -s /bin /bash, and then whatever your username is going to be, password that username, so PASSWD, and then your username, and then once again type in the password you choose for this user, but not the same as your root password to be safe. And now it's a good time to edit our pacman config, so nano /etc /pacman.conf. You'll need a lot of these multi-libs down the road, so find multi-lib, uncomment that, then control X, and then obviously save and overwrite that file. Sudo pacman-sy. So now we need to actually edit who can use sudo nano /etc /sudoers. Scrolling down, you see this root right here. Some people like to say you put it into wheel and just uncomment this. I personally just use the username. All equal. There you go. That's how you do it, and then just save that file, overwrite it, and now we need to pacman -s grub. I'm gonna use grub for this. You can use refined or systemd boot or whatever, but I'm only covering grub in this. Then EFI boot mgr DOS FS tools OS prober. You don't necessarily need this, but if you have other operating systems, OS prober is nice to have, and mtools for the sake of it all. Now we need to grub -install --target equals x86 64 -EFI space -EFI directory equals /boot --boot loader -id equals, you can name this whatever you want. This is just what shows up in your BIOS for the UEF install. So grub _UEFI is what I'm going to call it. And then // recheck. If everything worked right, it should say installed finished, no errors. And then we need to grub -mk config space -o space -boot /grub config, but not config but .cfg. At this point, you would exit out and go from there. You can do the AMD GPU stuff if your graphics card supports it and you need it. You might want to do that before, but I'm not going to cover that in this portion. And then you would just exit out at this point, and then umount -a to unmount everything, and then tell init 6, and you'll be restarting. If you follow this guide right, or you're not having some kind of system issue with your GPU stuff, like AMD GPU related things, everything should go in. If it doesn't, you might have to catch the screen with like pressing the arrows real quick, and then press E, and then go into this right in here where Linux is, and then behind quiet put like no mode set, and then just boot with those launch options. But if everything is correct, it should boot up, and it should be a command line system at this point. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section below. And if you like this kind of content, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and then hit your monitor real hard on that bell button to crack it. And we'll be seeing you in the next video. This is Unholy Vision signing out.